Hello and good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. My name is Valerie O'Keefe. I'm Senior Director of Engagement at ASID, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's ASID Member Benefit Spotlight, focused on the ASID National Awards. This webinar is for individual members, organizational members, as well as those looking to join ASID. And it's about featuring our opportunities, our insights, and kind of our strategies about how to apply for the ASID National Awards. Whether you're looking for to advance your own application or nominate a deserving peer in today's session, we hope to provide you with a roadmap for success. And in the next 30 minutes, we'll break down the award categories and clarify eligibility and the submission process so that you can kind of navigate it with ease as your time is ready. And to help you provide you with a little bit of a competitive edge, we are joined by three distinguished past award winners and jurors. And these experts will share the insider perspectives on what truly catches a juror's eye, offering important points about that you should consider before you apply, and share some of those proven strategies that kind of help build that standout application. As attendees, your audio is muted and the chat is disabled, but please use the Q&A button on the toolbar to submit questions, and we will address those during our Q&A time. I will be your moderator throughout today's webinar, but I am joined here by Dana Nunn, Natalie Biles, and Tracey Fillmore. Welcome, Dana, Natalie, and Tracey, and we're thrilled to have you today to kind of share those stories, those insights, and really thoughtful perspectives. We'll start with a quick round of introductions. Panelists, if you come off mute, I'd love for you to share who you are, where you're based, and your experience with the National Awards. Natalie, we'll start with you.
Hi, my name is Natalie Biles. I'm located in Central Arkansas, and I'm co-owner of Shine Interior Design Studio, and we do both residential and commercial work. My experience with the National Awards is we submitted a project for an award in 2023, and we were the small firm winner of the Focus Wellness Award. And then last year, I was able to serve as a juror. So that's a little bit of my experience with the National Awards.
Thank you, Natalie. And next we'll go to Tracey.
Hi there, I'm Tracey Fillmore. I am a senior facilities designer. I am in Fort Myers, Florida, so I'm on the Gulf of America. And our organization, I actually represent a hospital system. So we have over 16,000 employees, 5 acute hospitals, and almost 200 outpatient facilities, and growing rapidly. So I used to be a residential designer, and then I moved into healthcare. I was nominated for the Volunteer of the Year a few years ago, and I received that award. And I've sat on a couple of juries, and I've done a lot of the jurying on a lot of the DEA awards as well. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Tracey, amazing. And we'll go to Dana.
Good morning. My name is Dana Nunn. I'm with Bettisworth North Architects and Planners, and we are on the opposite corner from Tracey up in Anchorage, Alaska. We're an interdisciplinary firm working primarily in all kinds of commercial and industrial work with a little bit of multifamily residential creeping in as our market demands it now. I came to this because I have been a nominator of a number of people over the years and have had some nominations go through beautifully and others maybe not make it. And so we learned from that experience. And then more recently, I was nominated and received the Advocate of the Year last year. And I also put forth a project in the medium firm category, and we were recognized in the wellness category there. So a little bit of a mixed experience in this.
Thank you. We're excited to hear more about those experiences in just a few minutes. But first, we wanted to cover a little bit of our basics of their award program. The National Awards are the society's highest level of professional recognition, celebrating people, organizations, and teams who are really proving that design impacts lives. This award program includes 3 distinct categories: the annual awards, the focus awards, and the legacy awards. And each of these 3 categories offers several awards within each. The annual awards acknowledges significant contributions and achievements over the past year that someone has made. And this offers awards, as you can see here, things like Volunteer of the Year, Advocate of the Year, Chapter of the Year, Designer of the Year. So there's a lot of different opportunities for members across the spectrum of our organization. And the Focus Awards. So the Focus Awards are our project awards, and these recognize outstanding projects that really advance design around 4 key pillars: wellness, sustainability, diversity, and community. And the great thing about these awards it is about the story of the project. It is about the intent of the project. And this program, while awarded by pillar, it's also awarded by firm size. So there's a lot of opportunities here. There's large firm, medium firm, and small firm. This category also offers the opportunity for merit recognition. And of course, we have our legacy awards. So our legacy awards, some of these are our longest running award programs within ASID, and categories such as Designer of Distinction, Luminary of Distinction. And these really talk about someone's full contribution to the industry over their kind of the scope of their work and their body of their work. And in total, the national awards, we have 36 opportunities for recognition. So there's something for everyone here. And we hope that everyone will kind of take a look at what that eligibility is and what some of those requirements are. I'm going to switch from sharing this PowerPoint presentation to actually walking you through the ASID website so that you can learn a little bit more of how to navigate the site to learn more. So the National Awards has a dedicated page within our site, and each of these categories is kind of featured. And to learn more, we'll look at the annual awards. We just click the button here, and we'll open up to kind of dig into the annual awards here. You can see those 8 categories are featured, and we'll look at Designer of the Year. Each award kind of has the basics laid out for you so that you can see everything that's required: the description, the eligibility, so if there's any requirements for years of practice or years of membership, as well as the submission requirements. So for this one, there are 4 main components that would be required within your application. And when you're ready, you can navigate from this site to either to apply directly to our program or to nominate. I know Dana and Tracey both said they were nominated, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but nominations mean a lot in this program. The annual awards and the legacy awards offer the opportunity to be nominated. And we have found that many people don't necessarily see themselves as an award winner until someone else does. And putting forth a colleague, a mentor, a mentee to nominate someone for an award is really giving them that boost of confidence to apply. And it is a quick process here online. It's a simple form. You fill out your contact information, their contact information. You select which category you're nominating them for, and a few words about why you think they qualify for this award. And then this goes into the ASID system, and ASID will actually send an email to the nominee about the nomination, inviting them to apply. And we do share who nominated them for that in this process. Nominations are not required. So if you are looking to apply to the awards, we do have a great awards portal to kind of walk through here. So this system is for our annual and legacy awards. Log in, go to applicant portal, and we'll start a new application. Oh, just one sec. Here we go. So here are all the annual and legacy awards. The first thing we do is select what category we're applying to, and that will make it much shorter. So we can walk through the basics of what needs to be inputted. Simple information here, and then we just save and go to next. And all of those pieces that were featured on the ASID website are here. So you can upload them. You do not need to do this in one big swoop. You can come back as pieces are finalized and add them to your application. So you can save it and come back at a later time. So that is the application portal and our website. So now that we've kind of walked through the basics, and we'll talk to our panelists about determining when it's right to apply and how to build a submission that really tells the best story. So we'll go back into talking about that nomination process. Tracey and Dana, you were both nominated. How did that nomination ultimately impact your decision to apply?
Well, I would say for me, I probably I was brought up in a family where you didn't kind of boast about your abilities or whatever. So for me, the fact that somebody had nominated me for something spoke volumes to me, and that gave me the ability to kind of like look into it and see if it's something that fit me.
Yeah, my experience with growing up was similar, Tracy. You kind of keep your things under wraps. But I was nominated for something a few years ago and discovered I wasn't ready, actually. I didn't have my stuff together to submit, and so I let it go. But I was nominated this last year, and because I had shifted focus and started keeping I guess a better material collection of things that could support the rest of the application. And when the nomination came through, I thought, well, why not give it a shot? What- What's the worst that can happen? And so it was a really encouraging thing to get a nomination, and it was exciting to be able to act on it this time.
Exactly. And one thing I will say is just because you're nominated, the one thing you do want to do is look at the process as well and make sure, like Dana said, that you have the time, that you have the capacity within your schedule, and also that you meet the criteria for that, because somebody may nominate you but not realize maybe you don't have all of the criteria.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but Dana, you mentioned how you nominate people for these award programs. What does that mean when you nominate someone? What does that mean to them? Have they ever come back to you and kind of shared that?
People have on occasion come back and been really grateful for it. I, I've felt very humble, and that's been conveyed to me about people I've nominated as well. Um, some folks were just glad for the nudge too, people that aspire to, there are folks that really enjoy awards and they serve them well and they aspire to them, but maybe they didn't feel like they could go for it, and that nudge was all they needed to just do it. So that was always exciting to see, and then to see a nomination come to fruition all the way and be receiving the recognition. That's also very exciting because for me it's encouraging when I can identify people that deserve recognition and others see it too in the end.
And for the Focus Awards, so I know Natalie and Dana, you both received Focus Awards. Natalie, can you talk about how you decided which project to submit?
So we had a project that we knew had a unique story, and we had won our local chapter, Excellence in Design Awards. We had won an award for that. And so we actually had some of our chapter leadership had encouraged us to apply for the national award. We didn't really know much about it. It was brand new at the time. And so it just happened to line up that we had a project that had the story that fit with what the requirements were for the Focus Wellness Award and what was being looked for. And so that was why we were like, okay, well, we'll give this a shot.
The fact that your project had that story is kind of really what that made you go for it. It wasn't just
Yeah.
about the pictures, it was more about the story of the project.
Yeah.
Dana, how did your firm determine which project to nominate or to submit?
We had been a little skeptical about the awards at the outset because so many design awards are highlighting big firms and the glossy magazine spreads. But when Natalie's project won in 2023, as a small firm doing outstanding work in not a big city community, that was reassuring to us that we had a chance, and we had a project near and dear to us that did have a unique story. It was a story we wanted to tell, as we were approaching our big anniversary. But it also had been a project of just intense hours and lots of effort. And so going for the awards became then an opportunity for us to elevate our team and give them kudos and recognition. And then also in Alaska, we're deep in the throes of advocacy and seeking professional registration. So having local projects recognized nationally for impact, not just prettiness, was something we were interested in pursuing to support that effort. So yeah, we put it together and decided to take our chances.
And yeah, we know, I mean, as you mentioned, there's a lot of hours that go into putting a submission together. Has anyone had any reservations about applying? And how did you kind of overcome them or manage that cost benefit analysis?
Yeah. The cost was certainly something for us. An award submission, particularly a national award submission that's looking for things other than the pretty pictures, requires time and strategy and intention. And for us, I mentioned part of kind of going for it was highlighting our membership and advocacy. And so if we could justify the expense in ways other than just showcasing our work to our local community, it became worthwhile. But the time and outlay of effort is real. So being prepared for that was something we really had to consider deeply.
Part of the annual and the legacy awards, and one of those components that does take time to collect too is that letter of recommendation. So it's required for all of our the annual and legacy awards, and it's important to think about who you're asking and what they're going to say about you. Tracey, can you share about how you selected someone to write your letter and kind of what did you share with them to support your application?
Thank you for asking, Valerie. So for me, it was looking at the application and seeing what I was being nominated for, and then looking through the pool of people that were my resources to determine who would be able to tell that story the best. So for me, I was nominated for an award based on my chairing the Advocate by Design Council. And so there were people across the country, which was fantastic. A lot of people that were very knowledgeable and longtime members of ASID. But my recommendation is that you find people that are a very diverse crowd and you share with them your CV if you need to, but you have them tell the story based on their personal experience. So I've been asked to write letters when somebody has been nominated, and what I will not do is go down their CV and just tell everything that they have written, because that's part of the application process. So anybody that's the jury on that is going to see that already. So I would make sure that I would tell a personal story or share my personal experience with that individual in order to write that letter and tell it from a very personal level, which I think gives it a lot of weight.
Switching just a little bit here, I know Tracey and Natalie, as you were jurors, so going on the other side of things, as you saw, you can recognize those letters if they just go down the CV. So Tracey, if you could just elaborate here, what elements, when you review a submission, what elements do you see that really make one stand out over others?
So I always say that you need to have them help that story be told for whatever. If it's the Focus Awards, make sure that you're talking about the same subject matter of what they're being nominated for. They
Mhm.
might be a great designer in some other particular way, but that may not bear as much weight as telling the story of that individual from a level of what it's about, whether it's about wellness or diversity or whatever that subject matter is. That's what really matters the most when you're looking at it. That everything needs to tie together, whether it's the application, the CV, the letters, all of that bear a lot of the weight to tell that story, to push that
Absolutely.
winner to the forefront.
Absolutely. And as a juror, have you have you been able to tell easily when a person is telling their story versus a marketing team is
Absolutely.
involved?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That was one of the things that we talked about when would go through the first batch. You could tell the ones that were just a marketing department submission, and it was just kind of boilerplate information about the language, about the story of the project, but not in relationship to wellness, not in relationship to diversity. And so you could tell when it was just copy and paste boilerplate language versus being tailored to the award. And that made a very quick standout difference when we were going through those applications on who had really crafted their application to what the award was representing. And so it was a quick notice.
And Natalie, I know
Agreed.
we had talked about how you kind of recommend organizing an application to the requirements. Can you expand on that a little bit more?
I think go through your list, go through the application before, like Dana said, and like Tracey said, it takes a lot of time. It does, there's a lot of writing involved in these applications. And I think that was even something I didn't realize at the very beginning of it, but go through the application before you even sit down and start writing so that you can pull that accurate information and that story. And I think Dana had pointed out you may not be ready this time, but you can be ready next time, or you may have a project that matches. So even if you don't have a project right now, go through the application, see what stories you're looking for, see what those awards may match to, because you may have something that's coming around the bend that would be perfect, that matches those questions. So it's a prepare ahead of time, go through and see what you're going to need to write, what recommendations you're going to need, information from your client, and that sort of thing.
And I
I'll
think
add too, real quick. And I should have mentioned this earlier when you asked Valerie, but if you've submitted a project previously to another awards program, whether it's your chapter awards program or something else, that project may still have a wellness or diversity
Mhm.
or other story to it, a different story you can tell, and you can leverage the materials you've already produced, augment them with additional writing or adjusted notes, maybe additional photography or not if you need to tell a certain story with what you're illustrating in your photos. And so maybe you're not starting from scratch. Maybe you have something that's eligible and would show very well in these awards that are focused on impact.
I'm going to ask each of you if you have one piece of advice to give to a potential applicant, what would that be? Anyone want to go first?
I'll say go for it and give it a try. Um, we did not think that even there was a remote possibility. Um, but the ability for things to be sorted by firm size opens up a whole world for really all of us. And so give it a shot. Go through the process. It's incredibly introspective to go through an application process. And it really does. It makes you proud of your work. It makes you realize what you have poured into it. So whether you win the award or not, it is a very good practice. I think as a designer, it's encouraging ourselves to realize we're good at what we do. There's so much value in what we do. So that's my advice is to go for it, even if you think you're not quite there yet.
I would I would say to your point earlier, Natalie, to get ahead, if you don't think you have something now, then what can you prepare for in the future? What do you have on the boards that maybe you start collecting materials to be ready for next time? And also in the meantime, who else can be elevated? Um, these awards are recognizing really incredible contributions to the entirety of the profession in lots of different ways, but they're also sort of identifying up and coming or new role models for our emerging practitioners, somebody to look up to, somebody to get to know and learn from. And I think we all know people that are worth learning from in our own design communities.
And I would say also that when you're within the application process, you need to really pay attention to the details. Pay attention to what the questions are and be certain to answer the question, but then also have somebody, and maybe it's many people, proofread what you're submitting. Because you know what you're trying to say, but it doesn't always articulate. And so ask people to review it for you. And the one other recommendation I would make is do not ask AI to do that for you. It's obvious. It doesn't seem like it is, but it is obvious. So besides having a marketing team do it, which doesn't bode as well, also if it's obvious that AI has written that for you, then it just doesn't come across as being as personal.
Oh, really, really good suggestions and thoughts. Thank you for sharing. We don't have any Q&A questions from the audience, so we can kind of share our final steps here. One, I wanted to go through, just share some deadlines for this year's awards program. Nominations, as I mentioned, are open for annual and legacy awards, and they close April 2nd. That's when they are due. And the earlier you get a nomination in, that gives the applicant more time to do their application. So don't wait till the deadline, get those nominations in. All applications are due April 21st. And then all of our winners, we hold who they are until September 18th, when we will announce them at Gather Catalyst in Dallas, Texas. The ASID team is here to answer questions, help you navigate the site, the systems. So if you have questions, do not hesitate to reach out to awards@asid.org. And I want to just conclude our webinar here with a huge thanks to our panelists, to Dana, Natalie, and Tracey, for sharing your experiences and your suggestions. We hope that it inspires many people to apply this year so we can celebrate what our community is doing. A recording of this webinar will be available on the ASID YouTube channel, linked on the website and on Design Connection by ASID. And that we ask you to complete your survey after this. It helps us continue to improve this program, but also get you the follow-up information you need in that survey. But thank you for joining us and have a great day.